In this video, Carly's peak week training and nutrition overview for her first competition using a rapid backloading carbohydrate approach, as well as my personal peak week into the same show, this show, using protein to peak this time instead of fat. Hey everyone, welcome back to Skullbellz TV. This is a vlog part 1 of 3 of the 2022 Northwest Championships held in Federal Way, Washington. So part 1, which is this video, that's going to be Carly and me training together. We're going to go over some NPC women's physique posing, peak week tips, and nutrition and crash course for each of us, mindset and mentality going into the Northwest Championships. And then video part 2 is going to be the Northwest Natural Championships. So that's the shirt that I'm wearing right now. This was a drug tested show, and this event was held all day Friday on November 4th. So in that one, we're going to go over Carly's placings, her experience, and a lot of behind the scenes, a detailed analysis of women's physique posing, my personal placings and results competing in the classic physique and men's physique categories. And then that brings us to video number 3 of 3, which is going to be the Northwest Championships. These were untested, and this is where Mr. Jarrett Dean, another client of ours, big boy, here in Vancouver, Washington, joined us for that show. So we're going to feature a lot more of him in that third video. But Carly and I both joined him for that one since that was the very next day, and it gave us one more opportunity to fill out as much as we could, knowing that the competition at the second show was going to be a lot bigger than at the drug tested show. So that was going to require her and I to somehow miraculously come in bigger and harder than we were the day before. Spoiler alert, Carly had to drastically improve her calories, very much against her will, but it was for the better. So she was able to come in bigger and harder on Saturday. And as for me, well, you will probably never believe this about me, but I ate carbs. As a matter of fact, over 10 pounds of sweet potatoes, actually. Zion helped me eat a couple of them, too. She loves sweet potatoes. And it was miserable. It was a terrible idea in a lot of ways, but we learned a lot from it, and it got the job done. So going back to my all-meat diet has never tasted so good. What a relief. I'm going to get more into that in part 3. So right now, let's walk through the last day before the Northwest Natural Championships. Started the day off in deep ketosis, maxed out my breath ketone device, which was a very encouraging way to start the day. It's nice knowing that you're in ketosis, even being on the carnivore diet, even if keto isn't really your goal. It never hurts because then it's like you have the best of both worlds. When you're using the glycogen from the gluconeogenesis that's taking place because of such a high protein carnivore diet like I came into this show with, it's nice to be able to go back and forth, having spent the time the first 6 months of the prep to become very, very fat adapted. That's allowed me to be able to go back and forth between such high protein macros and not get kicked out of ketosis. So what I'm doing right now is adding some, I'm filling up my little travel shot glass souvenir from Arizona from 4 weeks ago, the last show that I did before this one. And I'm adding in some Celtic sea salt fine gray as well. So the cave salt is actually, it's a 1-to-1 sodium to potassium ratio. That's something very, very hard to achieve in a good quality mineral salt like this. So I'm adding in the amount that I have weighed out for the day. as well as a good sea salt too. I like the blend of the two together. And that pink cave salt has a real unique flavor to it too. It's really, really good. It's different because it's not sourced from a fresh sea like most sea salts are today. And it's not mined from an ancient seabed like something like Redmond's real salt. It's a lot different. It's mined from an ancient cave, and so it's not. So it's going to have that same kind of density that something like Redmond real salt will. Anyway, let's get back on topic. I can go on about salt all day. For more details on all that, the differences between those different types of salt, why I use the salts that I do, you can check out our podcast episodes 98. 102 and 104. Those are 3 great podcasts that we had some brilliant salt experts. Lots and lots of protein. So I'm actually not filling out today. This is Thursday. Again, we have 2 shows in a row. The first one is going to be on Friday. It's the following day, and that's going to be a natural drug tested show. So I'm thinking that conditioning is probably going to be my best chance of winning that one. And then we're going to do a carb refeed before Saturday, whereas I'm going to really push the envelope and see how far I can max out my muscle bellies. These are all the supplements that I'm getting ready to throughout the day. I'm just treating it basically as another workout day until we start refeeding. Basically, it's the same thing that I'm eating every single day, but just a lot more of it. And breakfast is always fun in our household. We try to get our kids enthusiastic about the same foods as us. And this we did not expect. They love raw liver. And I never encourage other people to eat raw meats the way that I do. But liver is one of those foods to where if it hasn't been frozen before and it's a good fresh calf liver like this one here, oh boy, it's the flavor is, in my opinion, very, very underrated. And here's proof. Every time we get it out and the kids see it, they start begging for it. They say raw liver, raw liver, raw liver, and then blue salt, blue salt, blue salt. They always want to pick out their salts too. And that's been a way to get them to eat like egg and some of the other foods that they're not necessarily as enthusiastic about eating. We make it fun by putting different types of finishing salts on it, different textures, and it makes it more interesting. And it actually stimulates their appetite too. So they're getting the nutrition that they need and they're eating their entire meal. Win-win for the parents. Celtic sea salt. They call this blue salt because it comes in a blue bag. So now we're actually getting them to remember the names of the salt. One last thing on the salt. Big thank you, by the way, to Celtic Sea Salt for being willing to sponsor this last competition. This was something that was a huge blessing for our family and something that just feels so authentic because we're as passionate as we are about health and nutrition, much more so than supplementation, about the foundation of any good quality physique. Salt plays a key role in that. So the relationship that we have with Celtic Sea Salt is very, very special and something that we're excited to explore new territory together with in the area of bodybuilding. I just think it's a very overlooked part of bodybuilding and a very powerful tool if you understand how to use and manipulate sodium and potassium correctly. Okay, so now we are at Body Shop Fitness training Carly through a full body workout, starting from the top and working our way down. We're going to start with the deltoids. This is a Steve Reeves style training where you start with the top of the body and basically do 3 sets per body part all the way until you've hit all muscle groups, ending with the quads and the hamstrings. Those are the biggest muscle groups, and so it just makes it kind of tough to get a pump anywhere else once you've already expended all of your blood supply through your legs. Makes it hard to focus on the upper body after that, in my experience, and that's something that we've taken from Steve Reeves' book, Natural Bodybuilding, the Classic Way. So anyway, we are working on posing now. Posing is very, very important the day of the show, every day leading up to a competition, but it is even more so important the day of a refeed because we don't want to overtax the central nervous system with the workout, but we want to get blood in those muscles and keep those muscle bellies full. And isometric work like what we're doing right now, I mean, she's flexed. Look at all of her muscles. She's very, very flexed. This is Carly. She's competing with me tomorrow. And The goal is to keep blood in those muscles, and so when she refeeds, and when I refeed too, it's the same thing. Even on the carnivore diet, all of the rice, she's eating a lot of rice today, about 1,000 grams worth of carbs. Already had a little bit right before this workout, but her body needs to tell all of those extra carbs where to go. She's been depleted the entire week. This is an approach we call rapid backloading. And on a rapid backloading carbohydrate approach, her carbs were about 10 to 15 grams per day, basically just what she was getting for vegetables. So what that does is it causes her body to crave those carbs so much that when she finally gets them, we can push the envelope and feed her way more than her glycogen stores would normally be able to hold, and that's going to give her a very temporary yet subtle enhanced look to the physique that she has. And that's how we're able to get her the paper thin skin, the veins popping out, the vascularity. I mean, everything that the judges are looking for to make sure that she is as conditioned and as muscular and full as she can absolutely be on stage. And obviously, practice makes perfect. Lane Norton says that posing can not necessarily win you a show. It can't win you a show, but it can certainly lose a show. Sorry, Lane. I probably didn't get it word for word, but I know that that's what the point is. And I've always remembered that through all my competitions and every time I teach a posing session. It's something that Taylor and I always preach, is that your posing can make or break your show. Why would you spend all of this time, all this effort into maximizing and to developing the best physique that you've ever had your entire life and not be able to display it properly? That makes no sense whatsoever. So my entire goal as a coach is not just to make sure that someone's conditioned and muscular and has everything that the judges are looking for, but that they're able to present it the way that the judges are looking for as well. And this sport is subjective. I mean, every judge has their own opinion. Here we're doing a front double biceps pose, and most NPC judges are looking for biceps, quads, and lat width, but everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their own style. And a lot is up for opinion. That's just part of the art of the sport. It's just like figure skating. Sometimes it's controversial to tell who the most artistic is at displaying the art of figure skating. And when it comes to bodybuilding, it's the same thing. It's a sport, but it's also an art. And so, gosh, she's got so many great variations of the front double bicep pose. Here we're working on one with a little bit of a twisted waist, and the goal here is to narrow her waist, but also to show her quad conditioning. She's very, very well conditioned all around. So we knew that would be definitely one of her assets going into this show. And she was definitely not out conditioned by any stretch by any other lady on that stage. And you'll see that in the next part of this vlog series where we go over the stage photos. But that's something to where genetically she's always been gifted more on the lean side. So her challenge has been has been focusing on building this muscle. Those shoulders that she has that you see right now, they did not happen overnight. That has been a year of really learning specifically how to work the rear deltoid. Right now she's doing a side tricep pose, and so you can really see that cap coming off the back, and that's what gives it that three-dimensional look. She's known in my Instagram DMs whenever I make a post of her as the chick with the biceps. Excuse me, it's the chick with the shoulders. And people ask, what kind of gear is she on? Not is she on gear, but what gear is she on specifically? I'm like, she's not on any gear. She's doing a natural drug-tested show with me. And all of this growth has been her hard work, her learning how the shoulders work, and her listening to everything that we say, questioning if it doesn't make sense, but following the meal plan and the training exactly as it's written. And just finishing up posing in the morning, keeping those muscle bellies full, giving all that rice she's gonna eat today. Good place to go.
best shape she's ever been in her life. Look at that lat spread. Absolutely peeled. I'm so proud of her. Pretty filled with water right now, so a little bloated, but just finishing out with some chest and then probably gonna hit some quads. With that sodium from the Aquan Matrix, really noticing the vascularity. Getting my posing in to touch up and making sure that we got all of them down, but also keeping blood inside those muscle fibers. So when I refeed tonight, all that glycogen goes exactly where I want it to go, inside those muscle cells, baby. All right, and this is gonna be lunch throughout the rest of the, next couple meals, really. This container contains all of my liver for right now and for throughout the rest of the day. It's a couple pounds worth. So this is all raw liver, and I actually love eating this stuff. It's absolutely amazing. It's just literally raw liver. So of course I'm gonna put salt on it. This is the salt that I weighed out earlier in the day, so it's mostly pink potassium cave salt, but a little bit of Celtic sea salt, fine brown gray too. And I already took my aqua matrix earlier today, so that's gonna be lunch, and bacon too. So these fats, this is homemade. Oh, get a close look at that. That is homemade mayonnaise. It's actually keto mayonnaise. I guess most mayonnaise is pretty much keto, but it's got raw egg yolks in it. Oh my gosh, Lisa made it, and it's absolutely amazing. I guess if you want to count these, always keep these for Zion, but these are freeze-dried liver snacks that are actually made for dogs, and I actually really enjoy them too. So sometimes it's one for her, one for me. All right, that's pretty much it for the meals. Now, actually, the very next thing is, so I'm consuming a lot of water today. It's like basically the last day for a show for me. Everybody's different, but I'm kind of drinking and peeing the entire day at this point. And so Taylor was nice enough to fill up this water bottle for me. Thank you very much, babe. Mm-hmm. Okay, so usually I like to leave a little bit less in it. Excuse me, and leave some room to shake up these electrolytes in it. So, honey, do you want to hold the label on this one? And then I'll explain kind of what it is. So, this is probably the most natural electrolyte supplement I've ever tasted in my life. It's wonderful. There's no artificial sweeteners in it. This is a Celtic sea salt product as well. And so I like to down this water kind of towards the tail end of a fast. So I'll probably drink about half of it, and then knock out about half of that liver, and then eat until I'm full. I'm gonna be very, very intuitive about that meal. Also, always throw in a little bit of pink salt. Oh, you know what? This is one less thing I got to do in the car too. We're about to go to the tan, so this is gonna be eating on the road. But I'm gonna just go ahead and pre-salt it just like that. That's all it needs. This is so bomb, it does not need any other seasoning besides this. So then I like to put a little bit in my water too. Yeah, it's an acquired taste, salt water, but man, when you're low carb, you start really craving salt and electrolytes, especially towards the tail end of the prep. So you wanna make sure you are not slacking on those. How do you like that that shot glass too, by the way? That's from Arizona, our last trip 4 weeks ago. The competitions that Melanie and I did in Ohio. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Am I forgetting anything, babe?
I don't think so.
Cool. Oh, metabolic nutrition meal prep container on our website, available at supersetyourlife.com. Always got one or two of those in stock. Those are super popular. And they come with these too. Yeah, no, these are so useful. It's kind of something you got to get used to, having that knife on the side, but they're just so practical. Like if I'm eating bone broth or I'm eating like stuff on the go like this, it's just kind of works for everything. So yeah, it comes with these meal prep containers too. But check it out, supersetyourlife.com. Also for the Celtic sea salt, you can go to their website or support us at supersetyourlife.com. But yeah, Electro Live is the name of that supplement. That is also on our website. It's a little bit of a pricier one, but if you're willing to treat yourself and give it a shot, or if you want a sample, just let me know. More than happy to share the wealth. So yeah, about to go ahead and check in and meet up with the rest of the team. At the local butcher right now and gonna grab some meats for tonight. Gonna get some steaks hungrily. Which one should we get, huh? Which one do you like? Go on. What's that in the camera? Thanks. What do you think? Huh? Ground beef? Oh, we need steak. Here it is. Ooh, there's some good stuff there. That looks like a winner. What do you think? All right, at the hotel right now at the resort and just finished check-in and tan, in case you can't tell. Check this out. They hooked us up with some really, really cool bags. Sit. Sit. Good sit. Good dog. So Zion was super well behaved in the tanning area. Just tell her to lay down, and she knows her job, especially with the vest on. She knows that that means that she is a working dog. But check it out. I got us some really cool swag. Can't wait to dive into this, but really can't wait to dive into that steak. So I think she's earned it. Get full and ready and get some rest. Have a date night with Taylor. A little bit of alcohol. Just relax and call it a night, and come back tomorrow and try to win. We're looking at 4 pounds of tri-tip right here. This is the highlight of the refeed. Push these bad boys over a little bit. Searing them in ghee butter, typically don't, but definitely not worried about going over the calories right now because we're done cutting. It's about filling out. So going a little over on the fats or the protein here and there. Definitely not something that we're concerned about on this prep. Okay. So the salts that we're using right now, already rubbed a little bit of this in, but this came with the welcome bundle, so that was pretty cool. Looked at all the ingredients, and the most part, they're pretty good. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, we'll have a little bit of this and celebrate the end of prep. And the free swag that came with that came along with the registration. So added a little bit of Celtic sea salt kosher tonight. So that's going to give it a nice flavorful crunch to it. And these two are actually both mixed in here from the leftovers from yesterday. Wasn't able to finish all this, but these are River Rock Salt Flakes. These are absolutely delicious. So just overestimated how much I was going to use last night. But basically got all those blended up in here. And so that's going to be a very, very delightful blend. And then what else do we got? Yeah, these are basically going to be the condiments. Freeze-dried liver, raw liver, put a bunch of kosher salt on it, and decided to swap the raw eggs for my mother-in-law's homemade mayonnaise that is totally keto, obviously, and actually has mayonnaise in it. So it has raw eggs in it. So.
One more thing on the carnivore diet too. This day is something that I was looking forward to the entire last, about 8 weeks. Being on an all-meat diet is the most sustainable way that I've found personally to be able to achieve a low body fat percentage, in mine probably as low as 3 or 4%. I never tested exactly, but from being the most peeled guy on the stage 8 weeks ago at the NPC Northern Classic, doing a show 4 weeks later, and then doing another show 4 weeks later, doing 2 back-to-back actually to finish things off. It's a long time to have glute striations and abs and veins popping out of your abs, but it was worth it. And even though the last 8 weeks haven't been as low calorie and as ketogenic focused as far as the macronutrient ratios go from the 6-month prep coming into the first show, having the high amount of protein it made it very, very sustainable to be able to give myself just enough protein, just enough calories to be able to build muscle, provided I was training my ass off the last 8 weeks coming into this show. But knowing that this protein refeed was coming, that gave me something to look forward to and made it all worth it too. So yeah, that's it for this video. And thanks so much everyone for watching. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel down below, please. Turn on that bell icon to make sure that you're notified when part 2 comes out. We're going to go through the entire Northwest Natural Championships on Friday, the next day, and uncover how everything worked out.